So hi, one of the Good Noise podcasts of the Mourning Collective. We're going to ask him some questions today. I'm going to start. So what inspired you to start the project, and what does the project name mean?
What was the first question? When did I start the project?
What inspired you to start the
What
project?
inspired me to start the project? Okay. So the name Mourning Collective kind of comes a little bit from this is a pretty new project. I started it back in April when all this shit was starting to really go down with the COVID situation that everyone's well aware of. And I read an article about how kind of the whole world was going through like a collective sense of grief or like a collective sense of mourning and like loss. And I thought that was kind of a catchy name for a project I was working on. And I kind of like the pun side of it where it's a collective, but it's just me by myself. So
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. And inspiration to start the project was just I was an essential worker, so I never really got the time off everybody else did. But I took a week off, and I just honestly I just wanted something to fill the time. And I knew I was about to move to Massachusetts. This was back in April, and I'm in Massachusetts now, but I was living in Washington, and I knew my band wouldn't be able to do any of the stuff we had planned for the spring and the summer because you just couldn't be around anybody, and all live music was canceled. So I just wanted an avenue to kind of get out some song ideas I had in my head that were just a little bit different than what my band was doing at the time. So yeah, I just kind of decided to download some programs and teach myself how to do like MIDI drums and just kind of go from there and see where it goes.
Okay. Wow. Sick. So, congrats on your newest releases, Spring and Summer. How do you feel about the response to it so far, or to them so far?
Good. I'm super, super DIY. So I really, I'm not a guy who knows how to build an audience really. I'm not really very knowledgeable about organically getting it out there. So I'm just doing what little I can. And, when people do hear it, the response has been pretty good on the YouTube page for the music video for Summer. Somebody compared it to Stone Roses meets like the Pixies. And that was like the highest compliment I could ever imagine. Because to me, like Pixies are like my number one kind of influence on just I don't know, maybe like a subconscious level. So anytime someone picks up on that, and it's just like a stranger, like I don't know who this person is, I don't know how they found the video. So that kind of response I think has been really cool. I'm hoping to get a couple more, eyes and ears on it. And I'm working on a couple things there. But for now, I mean, I'm a small timer. So anytime I wake up and I look at like the Bandcamp or Spotify for Artists app, I see like 5 more plays in a day. I get super excited.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been cool.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about your writing process?
Yeah, so I'm a guitar player, always have been, very, very amateur level skill. I kind of grew up on punk rock and I just was a power chord guy and I really still am. So I wanted to challenge myself, and I was also in a little bit of a songwriting rut. My previous band, Regress, had just written a 8-song album over the last year, and we kind of burnt out on ideas, and I just wasn't feeling that inspired. So what I did was I went on Amazon and got this super cheap, like $80 jazz bass knockoff. And I thought, okay, to mix up the songwriting process, I'll just start, instead of starting with guitar and like jamming out on guitar until I have something, I just started writing bass riffs, and I'd record them. I use Reaper for my recording, and I would just start jamming out some bass riffs and seeing where that goes. And once I felt like I had like a verse down, I would then layer drums on top of it, and only then would I start to find the guitar parts.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that really kind of helped break me out of the rut I was in. I try to keep it very, very simple. Like one of the goals with Mourning Collective is, kudos to all those bands that can do really like fancy guitar licks. Like that's awesome. I love listening to it. I can't play it to save my life. So I want to boil like guitar rock music down to like a very, very basic sort of essence where it's super simple and just kind of catchy. So I stick to really simple, like chunky rhythm guitar. And then I just try to find like really easy to play, but cool sounding lead riffs to put on top of it. And then once I have kind of the skeleton, and also I try not to go too crazy with song structure, like, especially if you listen to Spring, Each of those 4 songs is just one looped drum part for the entire song. And I just kind of play around with it from there to try to, like, the challenge was to try to make that sound interesting. Like, how can I take one drum beat and make something like somewhat interesting from that? For Summer, I kind of jazzed it up a little bit. I experimented with like drum fills and like multiple drum parts to help differentiate stuff. But at the end of the day, my writing process is just like keep it super simple, try to keep it catchy, and hopefully something memorable comes out.
Mm-hmm. Safe. So where was your headspace while writing those?
So that's kind of one of the long-term goals of this project. You could probably tell with spring and summer, like I'm doing right now, at least, and we'll see if I continue it. But for now, I like the idea of doing really short seasonal releases that just coincide with like kind of my mental state around the time it's written. So for spring, everything was super new with kind of how, you know, like I said, not to beat a dead horse, but the COVID situation, like how the world was starting to feel. And so spring is very like, I don't know, back then it felt almost like this would be like a quick little thing. It'll pass. We'll go back to normal by the summertime. Like everything's going to be cool. So it's more of an optimistic sound. And so the songs are a little poppier on it, a little, the production's a little bit lighter. But for summer, it's kind of like I wanted to capture the full on kind of like nihilism that it feels like, where it's like, oh, maybe this is just not going to end. Like this is like, it's way worse than we thought it was going to be. And it's just going to be terrible forever is how it feels.
Yeah.
Everything's canceled. Summer's over. Fall's going to be like, fuck it. It doesn't matter anymore. So for summer, I really wanted to capture that kind of spirit of just, I guess I'd call it like playful nihilism, because the lyrics, I try to have like some fun where it's like a lighthearted touch. Like I don't go too deep on subject matter, but I came up with the line, "The summer never ends." And I thought that was a cool line to end the song and the release on. Cause I think that kind of captures where my headspace is right now. I feel like, you know, and I did a cross country move, packed 3 cats on an airplane and flew from Washington to Massachusetts with like a full on like N95 mask, the face shield. And it was terrifying. It was like a horrible experience. And I wrote the songs right before that, knowing I was going to be going through that. And it's just like, I don't know where I'm going with this anymore, but it's just, it's been a long summer.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not getting any shorter. And I was trying to kind of capture that headspace with these 2 songs. Okay. So it's very like aggressive sounding in that sort of way.
Yeah. All right.
So will your next couple releases be called Fall and Winter, since you've got that like release pattern going?
Yeah, so that's kind of that's the plan. And with spring, I did 4 songs because it was my debut, and I always like debuting a project with like a full EP rather than like just a little two song thing. But I think I liked that summer was 2 songs. I think it made it quicker to just get through everything. So tentatively, I'd start writing fall here probably in like a month or 2. I don't want to start it too early because I really like to knock these songs out within like a week when I do a release, just like bunker down and get it done. So for fall, if I do a fall rather than something else, I'd probably start writing that in like late September, put it out in like October, and probably be like another 2 songs, maybe 3. And then winter. And then one idea I had at the start of the project was, if I did that, what could be cool is when I'm done with all 4, I could take the best songs from them and like send them off to get mastered together and just do like I come up with some other name. It'd be like the year album, you know, like a year
seasons.
Looking back on the year, all 4 seasons, like the best song, at least the title tracks for sure. Maybe supplement it with something else. I don't know. But it's all, you know, I don't know. I don't know where it's going. It kind of depends on, I guess, where the interest comes in. And, you know, if someone's interested in releasing anything on vinyl, that'd be awesome. But for now, it's just kind of like when the spirit captures me, I'm just like, all right, let's just jam out a quick release.
Solid. So what band or artist influence do you think you can hear on summer and spring? Yeah,
so summer... For contemporary bands, there's a lot of Nothing DNA in that, I would say. I I kind of like that. It's corny. What on the Twitter bio, I just said it's new gaze, which is such a stupid word, but I thought it was funny because it's like new metal and shoegaze. I don't know. It's dumb. Yeah. But I didn't want to be like post gaze, so I was like, oh, it's new gaze, like
new gaze. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's contemporary wise, there's a lot of nothing in the sound. As far as more classic bands, like I said, Pixies are kind of in the all throughout the DNA of what I try to do in terms of capturing not necessarily like a specific sound or genre, but in more of like a vibe and attitude. Like I think Pixies are probably, in my opinion, the best rock band ever created, and they just capture such how can I say it? It's like an edginess without being corny about it. It's like just a certain nonchalant, borderline sloppy kind of vibe, and I really like that, and I want that to kind of permeate through my sound too. I like a lot of modern Teenage Wrist, and then Hyperview by Title Fight. Okay. And more recently, the dude's new project, Glitterer. I really liked his whole thing where all of his songs are just super short and to the point. So I try not to let any of my songs go beyond 3 minutes. I try to like that's a hard cutoff. Like I try to do it as much as I can while leaving it like 2 minutes or shorter. So yeah, that's kind of the cocktail right now.
Okay. Solid.
So is there a certain feeling you want your listeners to have while listening through your music?
Yeah. Kind of back to what I was saying earlier with Summer, it's kind of just that collective nihilism we're in. I guess I try to keep my finger on the pulse of, how, at least locally, how it seems like people are feeling. Like I said, right now, there's like that kind of nihilism and hopelessness. And, in spring, it was a little bit more like fun and light and optimistic. So I try to just follow how things are feeling in a general sense in terms of the state of the world, in regards to just all the fun 2020 is thrown at us. So for Summer, it's definitely that, like, it's all burning down. So what are you going to do? Just shrug your shoulders and let it ride, man. Like, that's just kind of how it feels right now. And I wanted to capture that sort of vibe through the music for sure.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. So where do you see the project in the next 5 years?
5 years, man. Hopefully a couple of full records out, hopefully something pressed to vinyl, hopefully at least 25 monthly listeners on Spotify. You never know. I've been writing music since I was 11 years old, so I'm definitely not going to stop, whether it stays as Mourning Collective. Like, what's cool is the flexibility of when you're doing everything by yourself is, you can turn on a dime. Like if I wanted to just wake up and like, oh, let's try, I'm going to put out like a pop punk project. Like,
yeah,
I feel like I'm empowered to do that now. I actually have an idea for one. I want to call it Depression Beard. And it's going to be like a Roswell Kid, like pop punk kind of thing. That might come out someday. Just, bookmark that. But yeah, 5 years of Mourning Collective, man, I would love to have, I'd love to have some sort of fan base, but if that's not in the cards, and if just a few people hear the music and like it and think it's cool and maybe help them process some stuff that they're going through, I'd feel pretty accomplished about that.
All right.
Oh, all right.
So for the last couple questions, we're going to shift away from music and go straight to death row.
Let's go.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with drink?
With drink? Oh, man. In Disneyland, they got these Belgian like Mickey shaped waffles. It's just the most incredible thing in the world. So I think I'd have like one of those, and then like a 6-pack of Rainier Tall Boys, which is just a shitty Washington beer that's very close to my heart. Some combo of that I think would make me feel pretty good.
Yeah. Well, all right. So if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Fictional world for a week. Do I get to pick what I do, or do I just kind of like go through
you can pick
life shit? Okay. I think I would be really good if you just throw me in like Tamriel as a blacksmith or something, like just kind of chilling, eating like sweet rolls and cheese, like making swords for the hero, like the Dragonborn when he comes through. Like that'd be cool. I think I could be like a droid in Star Wars would be fun.
Okay, well, a droid. Wouldn't you like die? Don't they usually like go for the droids?
Dude, 3PO's died like 6 times.
Oh, man. Sorry, I'm thinking of
the
ones with the long like face.
Oh, like the battle droids.
Yeah, the battle droids. I was thinking battle droids.
No,
oh, okay.
I'm an independent droid.
Okay. I was like, bro, why would you pick that? All right, cool. Thank you for clarifying.
Way. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I have the honor of asking the last question, and every single person we've spoken to says the most important question.
Oh, boy. Okay.
What is your favorite color?
Oh, man, like a deep forest green, for sure.
Ooh.
Okay.
Don't even have to think about it. Yeah,
very
super
specific. Easy. I love it.
I'm from Washington State, man. We got the evergreen trees. Like, that's home.
Yeah. Right.
Awesome.
So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything you would like to plug?
Anything I'd like to plug? Oh, man, I wasn't prepared for that. My buddies in Washington have a band called Low There. Definitely check that out. They put out a record earlier this year in like March, and it's incredible. Definitely big time, like post-hardcore, like good guitar rock, alternative rock. Super, super good album. Not enough people heard it, so definitely that.
All right.
Well, thank you for sitting down with us. This has been Mourning Collective, and we're the Good Noise Podcast.